Welcome to TAO Dog Yoga. I'm Steph, this is my dog River, and for our practice together, we will be focusing on plank pose for us and for our dogs. So let's dive right in. Come to your comfortable seat, and you can ask your dog to lay down beside you. If your dog is wondering about your space or getting really excited and coming up to you, that's all good as well. You can just remind your dog to lay down as we come into our practice, but they are more than welcome to be free in your space, moving about. Sitting up nice and tall, shift from side to side, really starting to feel yourself grounded into your seat. And then start to lift up taller in your spine. Drop your shoulders away from your ears and find more length throughout your neck and up through the top of your head. Let's take 3 breaths together. Breathe in and out. And let's take another breath. And exhale. Good. One more breath just like that. Breathe nice and deep, lift up tall. And empty out completely. And then bringing one hand to your heart. If your dog is close enough, you can place one hand to your dog. Otherwise, your other hand can come right over your heart. Let's close our eyes. We'll set an intention for our practice. This can be one word. This can be something you need. Then you can open your eyes, release your hands. We're going to move right into plank pose and come right into our bodies. So core is so very important in TAO Dog Yoga. It's important for us, but also our dogs. So that's what we're really going to be focusing on together. Finding proper alignment in our plank pose and supporting ourselves in that to build our core and really find strength in our entire body. So coming to your hands and knees, you can remind your dog to stay moving nice and slow. In dog yoga, if we move quick, our dogs typically move quick, so we want to move nice and slow. Coming to your tabletop pose. So here in tabletop, we're going to come into plank. So your hands can be right underneath your shoulders, your knees are underneath your hips. And as we come into plank, you have a couple variations and options. You can walk your left knee back and your right knee back, bringing your tops of your feet so that they connect down with the mat or your floor, and then allow your hips to drop down a little bit. There you go, good. And from here, draw your shoulders away from your ears a bit. Yeah, bring your gaze out in front of you, and then notice what your core wants to do. If your hips are wanting to drop really low, draw your lower belly in, press down into your mat. So you're going to feel that connection with your shins, your feet, and you're going to feel that connection with your hands. You may even feel some heat building here. Good. And then let's come back to tabletop. So you can shift your hips back, walk your hands in. That will be our rest pose, is tabletop. So that's our first variation of plank pose. We'll come into that 2 more times. Walk your hands forward. Let your hips drop down. And then to keep your hips so they don't want to go too low, draw your core in. So let's engage everything here. Press into your mat, feel your arms active, draw your lower belly in. You're going to feel your rib cage even start to draw inward as well. Awesome. And then shift back to table. Let's do that one more time. Let's add our breath in. So our breath helps to signal to our dogs to stay nice and calm. So we're going to take nice, deep, long breaths here. Take a breath in and empty out. Come back to your tabletop. Moving into our next variation of plank. So as we come into this next variation, we'll be lifting our knees up. If that doesn't work for your body, you can do exactly what we just did. So coming forward, if you want to lift your knees, you're going to curl your toes under, lift up. Good. And then notice if you're shifted back a little bit, bring your shoulders right underneath, or I should say right above your hands. Go ahead, draw your core up and in. Everything's squeezing towards your midline. So think of your thighs squeezing toward each other. Big breath in here. Exhale out. And come back to table. Something we'll be bringing in with our dogs is a little bit of head movements. So we're gonna practice that on our next round here. Find your plank, knees up or knees down. Really feel solid here. You're pressing the ground away, pressing out through your heels. We're gonna take our gaze up a little bit so your chin can lift. Then tuck your chin. Come back to neutral, look to the right. Neutral and look left. Good, come back to neutral, big breath in and out. We'll do one last round of that. Your choice, your knees can be up or down. We'll take 4 breaths. I'm going to show it with the head movements with our breath. If you want to just hold really still, feels better in your body to do that way and not move your head, you can just hold it, right? So we're going to build some heat in our body here. Use your breath. It's a signal to your dog to stay calm, but it also supports you in this really active pose. All right, coming right into your plank. Good. You can lift your chin slightly, breathe in and out. Tuck your chin if you want to, breathe in and out. You can look to the right, in and out, and go left, in and out. Good. And then lowering back down. Good. Shifting back onto your heels for just a moment. And we'll transition to working with our dogs. So as you continue to practice TAO dog yoga, you'll notice we move from calm to active to calm to active. So when you're practicing yoga, encourage your dog to lay down beside you. They can take a little break, right? So you're working on that calm piece, conditioning your dog that way. And then when it's their turn, we invite them back onto our mat or another non-slip surface, and they can be a little more active. So it's almost like they're turning on, more energy, and turning off, lower energy. All right, so go ahead and grab your treats for your dog. Good, I like to keep a cover on mine, so my dogs will want to go sniff and try to get some freebies, so I keep it covered. Might be a helpful thing for you and your dog. And we're going to work on our dog coming into a table pose for them. If your dog has never learned a stand or table before, they may offer you sit, down, or something else, right? So that's to be expected, especially if you've done a lot of training with your dog. So we want to feed them when they get into the position. We'll use a lure, which means you'll take the food, put it right on your dog's nose, and let them follow it into a stand. We're going to feed that piece. We'll feed another piece and another piece. Then we'll release our dogs out, lure them back into the stand, feed 3 pieces, release out, and do it a 3rd time. Similar to what we just did in our body in our planks. All right, moving nice and slow, just like we do in our yoga. Invite your dog over so you can show them you have food. Okay, come on, Riv. Big shift in their energy. And you can stay standing for this. It's easier for me to kneel. So I'm gonna feed River 1 piece, right away 2 pieces for standing still, and 3 pieces. Good. You can release your dog away from you by tossing a little piece of food free. Go ahead, River, it's right there. Good, I'm gonna put the food back on River's nose. You can do that with your dog. Bring your dog back to the mat, feed 1 piece. Ideally, you want your dog, similar to how we were in our plank, their feet under their shoulders, and their feet for them are under their hips. Feeding 3 pieces. 1 little piece, you're just gonna gently move it to the side, free, it's right there, Riv. Bring your dog in 1 more time, good. 1 piece. As your dog gets stronger, you can slow the food down once they start to understand they have to stay there. Good. It's almost like us holding our plank a little bit longer. Good, and then you can ask your dog to lay down. If your dog was just learning down, you can absolutely put the food on their nose and lure them, right? Good boy. Good job, buddy. Good, we're gonna bring in a little bit of head movements to our dog's plank. With this, you want little small movements, just like we did. If you move the food up too high and your dog's head goes up too high, they're probably gonna drop their butt into a sit. And if you move the food downward, they're probably gonna come into a down. So we're talking, maybe you move the food like a 1/2 inch or 1 inch to start. As your dog understands to stay in a stand, you can start to build that a little bit higher. Working with your dog too, if your dog is older, they may have limitations or arthritis. Young puppies might be super, super flexible. So keeping that in mind as well. All right, luring your dog into the stand. Stand, River. Go ahead, I'm gonna feed one piece there. You can feed another piece. And from here, you'll take one piece and move it up slightly. Good. River likes to push the food a little higher. On the nose, just down slightly. Good, and you can go over to the right. Good, just like we did, and to the left. Good, you can feed your dog for staying in their stand. Good. And we'll do that each position one more time. Up. Good boy. Down, nice and slow. He was thinking to go into a down. Go one way. Good boy. And go the other way. Good. And then you can ask your dog to lay down. Down, River. Good boy, buddy. That was so good. Good. And then you can feed your dog the rest of their treats, or you can put them away. Noticing that shift in your dog. River's a little bit more excited now that we have worked on that. Come here, buddy. Good. So I'm just going to ask him to lay down. Good boy. That was exciting. Good job, bud. Good. So even just I hold on to River's collar and ask him to lay down, letting him know he can relax again. Right? So you might notice your dog is still excited after you work with them, but as you continue to practice, your dog will start to go back and forth between relaxing and working. Good job, buddy. Good. All right, let's close our time together the way we began. So sitting close to your dog if your dog is nearby. If your dog is moving about the space, you're going to take both hands over your heart. Good. If your dog is close by, one hand to your dog, one hand to your heart. You can let your eyes close, and we'll take one final breath together. Deep inhale. And exhale. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining River and I, and we will see you back here on our next TAO dog practice.